So now we're going to see a bit of practice around the flow file's content and attributes that we just saw in the previous lecture. For this example, we'll use a template we imported before, the CSV to JSON template, and remember we placed it into a process group, so we'll have to double click on the process group to explore it. Okay, here we go. So that's our process group, and it's made out of 5 processors. We'll start by the top, and we'll see how the flow file evolves from the very top to the very bottom. So the first processor is generate flow file. It's currently deactivated because it has a red stop. If we right click and press configure, we can see how it's being configured so far. In scheduling, it says that it will run once every 10 seconds. And in properties, we see that it will create a 1-bit file. There will be binary and only one. So let's just start it right here. As you can see, it has a green start button, meaning it's working. And shortly, when the UI refreshes, we will get one file in the queue. You can force a refresh, remember, by right-clicking anywhere and pressing refresh. So we had 2 now. All right, I'm just going to stop it for now. So if we go on the connector, there's something really cool I haven't showed yet, is that you can start listing what's in it. For this, you right-click on the connector and you click on list queue. This basically shows you all the flow files that are currently in your queue. So we have 3. So they all are basically ranked by how long they've been queued. This first one has been queued for 35 seconds, this one for 25 seconds, this one for 15 seconds. We saw before that the processor was creating a flow file every 10 seconds, so that's why they're 10 seconds apart. So something you can do now, let's just look at the first one, is that we can click on the information button on the left hand side to view details. And here we go, that's where it gets really, really good. Our flow file currently has a bunch of details, a UUID, which is a unique ID, a file name, a file size. These are common attributes to any flow file, and statistics around how long it's been in the queue or how long it's been in the flow overall. But then you get information about the size of its content and stuff. And so if you look at attributes right now, we can see the attributes that we just explained in the past lecture. Currently, this profile has 3 attributes: path, which is this, the file name, which is just a random number, and the UUID. So currently, we have a flow file with 3 attributes. If we look at the content, we can click on view, but there's really nothing to view because it's a 1-bit content with nothing in it. So currently, we have a flow file which has 3 attributes and empty content. Now let's look at replace text. Again, we right-click, press configure. So replace text runs every 0 seconds, which means runs as soon as it has things to do. And as we saw before in that things, it will look for anything and we'll replace it by, in this setup, by the string A, B, C, D. It will do replace the entire text. So now if we start it and we right click refresh, you see right away the data was processed. So we're just going to stop it. Now our data is into this second queue. So we're going to do the exact same operation as before, and we're going to list the queue. And we have our 3 files. Please note that now they all have 7 bytes instead of 1 bit. So if we click again on the first one and press info, we will find the same file name. But now what happens is that even though it has the same attributes, as you can see here, no attributes has been changed. If we look at the content and press view, now we can see the content being A, B, C, D. And the content type is text, plain text. So it's really cool. Note what happened here. On the first one, it generated a flow file with nothing in it and 3 attributes. And the second processor changed the content, but without changing the attributes. So remember before I said processors can change attributes, content, or both? Replace text only changed content, while generate flow file creates both content and attributes. Okay, so on to the next one, extract text. So extract text basically is a very useful processor to parse your content and extract data as attributes. Currently the run schedule is 0 seconds, which means it will run as fast as possible whenever there's data to do. And it has heaps of configuration options. I'm not going to go over all of them, but the most important one is the last one. So have a look. This property here was created and it's called CSV. It was created by using the plus button on the top right. So I could call it like CSV example and then an expression right here. Okay, so that's how it was created. I'm going to remove it. Anyway, so we have CSV and the expression here is what's called a regex expression. I'm not going to explain in this course what regex expressions are. So if you're interested or have no clue what this is about, please go online and learn about regex. It's not too much of a complicated concept, but it's really good. I'll try to explain what this does in this very specific purpose. So basically in regex, you give an expression and it will try to match this expression against your content. And anything within parentheses will be extracted as data. So here we have 4 parenthesis groups, 1, 2, and they're exactly the same, 3, 4, and they're all separated by comma. So remember how our string was, and I'll just write it right here. Our string was A, B, C, D. Basically, the first parenthesis group will match A, and then there's a comma, which is matched above. Then the second parenthesis group will match B, and then there's a comma. And so on, we have C and D. That's how it was created. So now, if we start that processor, we see that we have 3 matched, 3 content that match to our regex, and we can again list a queue, and we have our 3 flow files. In this case, we're still at 7 bytes, so the content has not been changed, but something else has changed. Let's see. So we click on the info. The flow file details are exactly the same. We now have more offset, means it's progressed alongside our flow. And look at attributes. Now we have a lot more attributes in here. We have still a UUID, file name, and path as before, but now we have CSV.1, CSV.2, CSV.3, and CSV.4. CSV was due to the fact that we created an expression before, and 1, 2, 3 because we had 4, and 4 because we had 4 parenthesis group, so it matched 4 things. So now we have A, B, C, D as attributes. So if we look back here, extract text did one thing. It did not change the content, but it extracted data as attributes. So I'll stop right here because you get the idea, but each of these little bits right here does either change the content or the attributes or both. And these 3 processors chain right here are a really good example to show this. In the next lecture, I will show you how to use attributes to change the content. And this is going to be the end of this template analysis. So see you in the next lecture.